Excellent. Good evening and welcome to the Charlton Board of Selectmen, January 15th, 2019 meeting. Would everybody please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to have a moment of silence for James F. Malley. He was the professional engineer who was the Title V engineer for the Board of Health of Charlton for 22 plus years. Thank you. Just a little note on Jim Malley. Jim was, as I said, he worked here for 22 years, but that doesn't give the full breadth of what Jim did for the town. He was the consummate professional. He treated everybody fairly. He made sure that the rules at the Board of Health were followed. But he also went above and beyond when somebody needed help to meet a deadline or to complete a project or to help somebody out that was in trouble and needed advice on things. So it is a very sad loss for his family, but also for the town of Charlton. So I just wanted to make that little note. So, tonight, we have to approve minutes of the special meeting from December 11th, 2018, minutes of the regular meeting from December 18th, 2018. Then we have community relations announcements and open forum. We have appointments and resignations, and tonight it's all appointments for Lakes and Ponds Committee, CMRPC alternate, Recreation Clerk, Per Diem Dispatcher, Kitchen Manager, Marijuana Advisory Committee. Scheduled appointments at 6:45. We have the poll hearing for Buteau Road. At 7 p.m., we were going to have the Board of Health for vaping information, but they have rescheduled for 1:29 for our next meeting. Under new business, special liquor license request for Alan R. Termel. Special liquor license request for REAS Foundation. Site plan and special permit application, 4-score adult use marijuana establishment, 144 Sturbridge Road. Site plan application, MTD micro molding, 15 Trolley Crossing Road. The annual town meeting, we have to approve the fiscal year 20 budget calendar and the open, and we have to open the ATM warrant. We have old business, committee reports, Board of Selectmen policy review. We have the student select person report, the town administrator's report. Other business unknown at the time of posting, and it looks like we had to add one thing, Swifty's Liquor Mart, for the topic is Keno to go. Our next meeting is going to be, regular board meeting is January 29th, 2019 in the Selectmen's meeting room. We have an open meeting law seminar February 5th at 6 p.m. in the Selectmen's meeting room. The board will adjourn to executive session to discuss strategy with respect to litigation on the Hilka construction if an open meeting may be detrimental to detrimental effect in the bargaining or litigating position of the public body. And we will be returning to open session only for the purpose of adjourning. So with that, do I have a motion on the minutes of special meeting December 11th, 2018?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes of the special meeting on December 11th, 2018.
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
Yep. Mr. Chairman, I just have two minor amendments
Mm-hmm.
on
bear with me. On page 2, the 7th line down where we refer to the town administrator evaluation, that really shouldn't have okay because it's pending. Revisions are pending.
Okay.
Everyone with me on that?
Sure.
And then the last one is on the last page. And it's where the paragraph that starts off with Ms. Spiewak asked.
Yep.
At the end, oh, wait, let me put it in. After, to attend the services, the sentence right before the last, I would like to put in what I did refer to at that meeting or talk about, which was, first, we should look to our employees for ideas to streamline work processes and improve workflow, because I did mention that at the meeting, and I think it's important that we include that. Are you with me?
Where?
So down at the bottom, I have Ms. Spiewak asked when an employee dies, and the employee.
What? No?
No,
No.
okay.
It's when we were talking about being lean and process audits. Am I in the wrong
I
minutes?
believe I saw that in here.
Yes. Remember how we said at the beginning of the meeting? I was,
Okay, yes,
yeah.
yep. So you're at letter
Was
B,
that in-
citizen
What page are you
relations.
on right now?
Bear with me. Maybe they were in,
No, page on your
yeah,
screen.
doesn't matter. Hold on a minute. When we were talking about the goals and objectives.
Goals and objectives down the bottom, yep. So that's gonna be page 6.
All right, I was way off. Bear with me. Thank you. Nope, that's not it.
20, is it like 29, enhance efficiencies?
Yes,
Yes.
where are you?
Okay,
Yeah.
so
29?
page 7, number 29.
Yep.
Enhance efficiencies by implementing lean ongoing, and
See,
then,
my thing's off. I have 7, all I have is signatures. It's just
Okay.
scanned in differently, that's all.
all right, that's,
All right,
Okay.
that
Did you open the
explains
most
it.
recent one?
Yes, the most recent one.
Yeah, it does, through the chair, it does mention, Ms. Spiewak brought up the minutes and how they could be shortened. She also asked if anyone had ever come in to do a process audit on how the work is done. You'd like to add to that?
That's what I had just read, yep.
okay.
Do I need
Okay.
to read it again?
Can you give it to me in writing once you
Sure, I can.
get their approval?
All right,
Okay, I will.
okay, so and that's it for both of them, Karen?
Yep.
Okay, so,
Can I
does,
amend my motion?
do we have an amended second?
Yes.
Okay, so we have an amended motion and amended second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain? Abstain.
Minutes of the regular meeting, December 18th.
Mr. Chair,
It's Mr. Safarovich.
move that we
Did we
accept
write it?
the December 18th meeting minutes?
You have to.
Second?
Do a second?
You have to
And
rewrite it
we have a
just
motion, a
once.
second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Community relations and announcements. Okay. Charlton REAS Foundation, Inc., Residential Energy Assistance for Seniors Annual Fundraiser 2019. The Taste of the Towns event will be held on Saturday, January 26, 2019, 6 to 9 p.m., St. Joseph's Hall Church, 10 H. Putnam Road Extension. Where can people get tickets for that? Any-
Was it here in one of the banks, I thought? Cornerstone?
Okay. And here. Jim?
I heard you could get them at the door too.
Okay, and they are available at the door. Thank you, Jim. It wasn't notated here, that's all. 2019 dog license is now available at the town clerk's office by mail and now online at www.townofcharlton.net. Vital records requests are also available online. Nomination papers for the May 4th town election will be available in the town clerk's office during business hours starting Monday, February 11th, 2019. Open Meeting Law Seminar, Tuesday, February 5th, 2019, 6 p.m. The snow date is February 19th at the same time. RSVP to Mary Devlin at marydevlin@townofcharlton.net by January 31st, 2019. Representative Peter Durant will hold office hours in the Selectmen's Meeting Room on Tuesday, February 5th, 2019, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. The Town Hall will be closed on Monday, January 21st, 2019, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Okay, appointments and resignations.
Announcements and open forums.
Oh, thank you, Joe. I forgot. Any other announcements? And is anybody here for open forum? No? Okay. Okay. Appointments and resignations. Ms. Craver.
Yes, sir. Attached is a talent bank form from Richard Watt seeking to be appointed to the Lakes and Ponds Committee, and the Conservation Commission is recommending the appointment. This appointment would be until June 30th, 2019. I would recommend the board make the appointment.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Safarovich.
move that we appoint Mr. Richard Watts to the Lakes and Ponds Committee as recommended.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have motion, a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Ms. Craver.
Thank you. Next, at the board's August 14th meeting, you voted to appoint Karen Speedwack as a delegate member to the CMRPC as the board's representative. At that time, we did not have a recommendation for an alternate and have had an opening running on cable and the town's website. The town is allowed 2 delegates and 1 alternate. The planning board makes 1 delegate appointment. Delegates and alternates are a vital link with our planning commission that enables them to deliver support services, to compete for discretionary grant funds, to identify community needs in transportation and land use, and to foster sub-regional cooperation through shared services and procurement. Should Ms. Speedwack not be able to attend a meeting, it would be beneficial to have an alternate attend on the town's behalf. I would offer the board to appoint myself as the alternate, should the need arise for a representative from Charlton to be in attendance. If a request comes in from a resident seeking to be the alternate, it would be brought to you for consideration.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? I just want to say one thing. It is very important that we have an alternate there, and I'm going to go back to when the TIP list, which is the Transportation Improvement Project list, the money was being subverted from the original reconstruction of Route 20 to go back out to Route 495 to redo the interchange at 495 and Route 9, which is, that's still in the works, but it's, they were gonna take the money for Route 20 and move it out there. And they were gonna move the Route 20 project down, down the road. And it was not to rehash a lot of old history. Everybody on this end from Oxford going west understands how bad that road is and how dangerous it is. The problem is that the people that were making decisions at that time, and we didn't have any representation in the room at that time, they moved the money. And it took a very horrible accident to wake everybody up to see what happens there, what happened. And we had the emergency reconstruction of the bad corner in Oxford leading into Charlton and some safety improvements. But that is why it's absolutely, we have to have somebody in that room. So thank you very much, Ms. Craver, and Karen, I thank you for being, for being involved with that.
And I did want to mention, I was going to give it a little report later when we give the updates, but either, so far, we just went, actually, Jean Vincent is the planning board delegate, and I did go, we were both there last week. But, so I don't think, we always had representation to date.
Good,
Since
excellent.
being appointed, so.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
And thank you for the history on that.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely paramount that we have somebody in that room. So we have a motion and a second after my rambling speech.
That's good stuff.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not going to plan on actually attending the meetings unless Ms. Speedway comes up or Ms. Vincent comes up and says there's a vote and we need both of our votes. I will
Okay.
attend. So just let me know if you need me.
Yep, thank you.
Recreation clerk.
Attached is a letter from Recreation Commission asking the board to approve a transfer of the commission's clerical duties from Todd Gerard, who is our conservation agent, to Sue Gelb, who is our ZBA clerk. If you remember, Todd Gerard, our conservation agent, was assisting the Recreation Commission for some time. His duties have expanded and he hasn't had time to assist them. Ms. Gelb is currently the clerk for the Zoning Board of Appeals as a part-time clerk and would have the time and ability to perform these duties. If approved, we will work with HR and Personnel Board to adjust the ZBA's clerk's job description to add Recreation Commission duties. There should be minimal changes to that job description, and we expect an additional 5 hours per month. I would recommend the board approve the added duties.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Mrs.
I
Safarovich.
move that we approve the added duties as requested.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Very quickly,
Mhm.
I'd just like to let people know that at our all boards meeting on January 8th, last week, the Recreation Commission was there, and they let us know that there's an opening on the commission right now. So if anybody's interested in being part of the Recreation Commission, please fill out a talent bank form and hand it in, because you're very needed.
And just to add a little bit so people understand what's going on, because the stormwater management regulations have changed at the EPA, with the EPA, and what they're forcing down on the state and on the towns, that is what Todd's new duties are. When we talked about this at a town meeting, and we also had a presentation, I believe, at town meeting from the consultants and from a member of DEP at the time. We were telling the town that this is gonna cost us some money, and this is the first step in it costing us some money. We have to start an inventory of what we have and where we're at, and then we have to move forward with making the improvements. So with that, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Ms. Perdue?
Just to add a piece to that, as people are wanting to get more information, if they're reading the Telegram and Gazette, they'll be seeing quite a few towns are starting to talk about utility taxes and enterprise funds for stormwater. So that's, there's other towns that are actually starting to try to figure out how they're going to be paying for the stormwater requirements from the MS4 permit. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, next, attached is a letter from Chief Maxfield asking the board to appoint Shauna Turuski as per diem dispatcher. He states that 2 of his per diem dispatchers were promoted to full-time dispatchers to cover a resignation and a retirement. Over the past 6 months, his department has lost 4 per diem dispatchers who have moved on to other agencies to take full-time positions. She currently serves as a dispatcher for the town of Ashburnham, is certified in the required state 911, APCO, and EMD training. As she is already trained and a certified dispatcher, the department will benefit from her training and experience. I would recommend the board make the appointment as requested.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Singer?
I move that we appoint Shauna Tankersley as a per diem dispatcher.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you. Next. Happy to do this one. With the retirement of Kathy Kuehl, who was the kitchen manager in the senior center, interviews were held by Jessica Lorenz, Human Resource Director, and Elaine Madras, our Director for Council on Aging, and James Howard, who is here in the audience, Council on Aging Chairman for this position. Ms. Trudeau was the only applicant. They are recommending the appointment of Jennifer Trudeau to this position, which is 24 hours a week at $15.54 an hour. Ms. Trudeau has been the assistant cook since October 2016, and I would recommend the board make the appointment.
Okay.
And if you'd like to meet her, she is in the
Sure.
back.
Come on up.
I am Jennifer.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Aye.
Pleased to meet you. Thank you.
She's done a great job, and the interview went.
Do you want to come up here so the people at home can see her and to put a face to the name, if that's okay, Mr.
Sure,
Chair?
absolutely. No, don't worry about it.
Now for the
But
speech.
Thank you. All the seniors know who you are, and that's what counts. That is
Yes,
what
I've been
counts.
here for just over 2 years
Yeah,
now.
no, and you guys, you know, between you and Kathy, you did a great job down there. And
Thank
we
you.
appreciate it, and we, you know, this transition will be seamless once the board makes their motion and gives us a second.
Thank you.
Okay?
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Ms. Trudeau as kitchen manager in the senior center.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Chair,
Mr. Singer?
I'd like to send Kathy a letter from the board, thanking her
Yes.
for all
Yes.
of her service to the town.
The least we can do.
Congratulations.
I believe.
Yes,
so.
congratulations.
Congratulations, and thank
Jen.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank
Have a
you.
good
Take a
evening.
vote?
Okay.
Yeah, we do.
Me too, okay. Are we gonna be,
30.
okay. We have to hire an
Something else?
assistant cook.
No?
No?
Okay. At the board's November 20th meeting, you expanded the Marijuana Advisory Committee to include one additional citizen representative, one alternate citizen representative, and a representative from the Planning and/or Zoning Department or designee. Jean Vincent is interested in being appointed as the Planning Board and/or Zoning Department representative. The Marijuana Advisory Committee is looking forward to her official appointment. 3 applications were received for the citizen openings from Richard McManus, Candace Sutherland, and Amy Villanova. The Marijuana Advisory Committee has stated that all 3 individuals are qualified and will leave it to the Board of Selectmen's discretion which of these 2 individuals will be appointed. We have invited the interested candidates to tonight's meeting. An update that we received, Candace Sutherland came into the office on January 14th and asked that her name be removed from consideration. Her health isn't where it should be, and she is not ready to make a commitment at this time. She apologized for any inconvenience. Therefore, you have 2 citizens applying for 2 positions.
Okay,
I would recommend that you make the appointments.
okay, excellent.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Singer?
So there are 2 citizen positions, one's primary, main, and one's alternate.
This will bring the membership to 2 citizens that sit on the committee and 1 alternate.
Okay, so we have Mr. McManus and Miss Villanueva.
Villanova
Villanova.
So Jean Vincent would be 1 full-time,
for the
and
planning.
then you would have to decide between Richard or Amy which one is going to be the full and which one will be the alternate.
Are there any forms in here, like usually they would fill out a questionnaire?
Yes,
Yes,
it's in
there
the
are.
packet.
They're in the packet.
Mr. McManus filled out a form, and he also gave his CV,
Give us what?
his resume, which is quite extensive.
Okay.
And through the chair, just a
Mhm.
question maybe for Selectman Noble. It's kind of unusual to ask us to do it. Usually the committee makes the recommendation. Were you just silent on it, or?
I
It's-
had no opinion either way. I spoke with the advisory committee, and because we're a non-voting committee,
Okay.
it was decided that they would accept the recommendations from this body.
Okay, I did not know that. I learned
Yes.
something. Oh, Trying to get
We're
some
just an
guidance here.
advisory committee.
Actually, would you mind expanding on that for people who might be tuning in tonight and not really sure what?
Expanding on it in what
the-
way?
What they're charged with, that's all. What's your,
What are your duties at the marijuana advisory?
because we're talking about it, but I don't know that everyone understands.
At the
but,
moment,
you
the
know.
marijuana advisory committee is in the midst of drafting a mission statement. When we were first formed, it was more of a focus on one particular entity that was coming to town, and we were the medical marijuana advisory committee, but since then, our duties and information and our base has expanded. So when we get that mission statement drafted, we will forward that on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So,
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Safarov
are any of the candidates here tonight?
is,
All
No.
yours?
I don't believe so.
no,
I think both are really good candidates.
I was just
Um,
reading, again,
I'm still trying to get through page 6 of Mr. McManus's,
If I might make a suggestion through the chair?
absolutely, Ms. Noble.
In the past, when we've had multiple individuals come forth for these openings, we usually accept the first one in the primary position, and then who has applied second will be in the alternate position.
Okay, so
So
using,
Mr. McManus sent his resume and talent bank form in almost immediately upon
okay,
this being posted, and Ms. Villanueva applied next.
okay. And they both have outstanding backgrounds.
Yeah,
We
this-
would
this
be
is
honored to
perfect.
have both
Yeah.
of them.
And I'm sure they both can both be at meetings,
Yes,
just in a case of any voting, one wouldn't have to sit out.
right.
Okay,
Or if someone had to resign, the alternate would take their place.
okay, so,
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion then.
go ahead, Mr. Safarovich.
I move that we appoint Mr. McManus to the full-time, to the citizen representative position, and then Ms. Villanova as the alternate.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
Can I make a request that we send Ms. Sutherland a thank you letter?
absolutely.
You also need to include Jean
Mhm.
Vincent.
Yes, that'll be a separate
Yes.
motion.
Oh, okay. So,
Do they have to come to the clerk's office to be sworn in for a committee?
No,
okay, so we need a motion to appoint Jean Vincent also as the planning board
So moved.
ZBA.
Second.
We have motion second. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I just
That's great.
want you to know that Jean Vincent did come to the last meeting even before she was appointed, which was very nice.
Okay, good. All right, poll hearing. A little late, but. I had the public hearing notice right here.
Okay. Page 48.
Attached, you'll find a request from National Grid and Verizon New England Incorporated seeking to install one JO pole on Bouton
Buto.
Road. How is it?
Buto.
Budo Road. Also attached is a notice that was sent to the abutters. This request has been forwarded and approved by both the Chief of Police and Highway Superintendent. No comments or concerns have been received. The chairman should open the public hearing by reading the notice as sent to abutters.
Okay. Charlton Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, January 15th, 2019, at 6:45 PM in the Selectmen's Meeting Room, 37 Main Street, Charlton, Mass. 01507, to act on a request from National Grid and Verizon New England, Inc., seeking permission to locate poles, wires, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting fixtures along and across the following public way. Budo Road, National Grid to install one JO pole on Budo Road beginning at a point approximately 450 feet north of the center line of the intersection of Gould Road. National Grid to install pole as shown on sketch. Anyone wishing to be heard in this matter should appear on the date and time specified or submit current concerns in writing. Does the board have any concerns or questions on this? Anybody in the public have any questions or concerns about the pole being installed on Budo Road? I see nobody. Do I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Do I have a motion to allow National Grid to install one JO pole on Budo Road?
Did we vote in the last motion?
Yes, we should. Thank you, Joe. Moving it along, as some people would like me to do. We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Do we have a motion to allow National Grid to install one JO pole on Budo Road?
So moved.
Second.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, excellent. That was painless. And we had the Board of Health cancel. They're rescheduled for 1/29. Under new business, we have special liquor license, Alan Turmel.
Yes, sir. Attached is a request from Alan Trammell on behalf of St. Joseph's Church seeking a special alcohol beverage license to be used on Saturday, February 23rd, 2019, from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. at St. Joseph's Church Hall for a wine tasting event. This request has been forwarded and approved by the Building Commissioner, Fire Department, and Police Department. Per the board's policy, the license, if the day is requested is approved, should be issued for 2 additional days for the following reasons. February 22nd, to allow delivery of the alcohol to the establishment where no sales would be allowed. February 23rd, for use of the approved date and time as listed. And February 24th, to allow for pickup of any unused alcohol. Again, there would be no sales allowed on that day. These dates would be reflected on the license. I would recommend the board approve the special license as requested.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Safarovich,
I move that we approve the special license as requested.
Second.
we have a motion, a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Ms. Craver?
Yes, sir. Attached is another request from the Charlton Rays Foundation for a special liquor license for wine and malt beverages to be used on Saturday, January 26th, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. at St. Joseph's Church Hall, 10 H. Putnam Road in Charlton, for the Taste of the Towns event. This request has been forwarded and approved by the Building Commissioner, Fire Department, and Police Department. Per the board's policy, the license, if approved, should be issued for 2 additional days for the following reasons. January 25th, to allow delivery of alcohol to the establishment where no sales would be allowed. January 26th, for the use on the approved date and time listed. And January 27th, to allow for pickup of any unused alcohol. Again, no sales would be allowed on that day. I would recommend the board approve the special license as requested.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Mrs. Spiewak?
I move that we approve the special liquor license as presented tonight.
Okay.
Second.
Second. We have a motion, a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Next would be, the planning board has provided you with a copy of an application submitted to them by Fourscore Holdings LLC, 1 International Place Suite, 3,700 Boston, Massachusetts, for a special permit and site plan approval for an adult-use marijuana establishment. The applicant proposes to operate a marijuana cultivation and production facility in an existing 20,000 square foot building with a proposed 1,000 square foot addition. The property is located at 144 Sturbridge Road, Assessor's Map 30, Block C, Parcel 13, and is zoned industrial general. This application is a resubmission of a previous application from August 2018. The planning board did not accept the application at the time. Staff asked interim town planner Bill Scanlon why the planning board didn't accept the first application, and he said it was because there was no host agreement. No hearing was held on that application. The planning board was informed they could open the hearing and review. They also could approve the application upon a condition of the host agreement. Mr. Scanlon stated that the planning board also didn't think it was fair to the applicant and allowed them to submit the site plan and special permit application. You are asked to review and make comments if there is any no later than Tuesday, February 5th. And a representative from Fourscore is here,
Okay.
Dan Glissman, if you have any questions.
That's pretty straightforward. Do you have anything, Dan, do you want to talk about, or?
No, unless you guys have questions, I'm happy to answer them, but
Okay.
I just thought I would come and be present for the hearing this evening.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. Does anybody have any comments? The planning board's gonna take this up as a regular site plan, so.
Mr. Glissman,
Yeah, absolutely.
would you mind providing your contact information to the Marijuana Advisory Committee?
Of course,
Okay,
happy to do so.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? And you can make comments, as the town administrator said, up to February 5th. If you'd like to bless you.
Excuse me,
Okay.
thank you.
So no comments on that one. Dan, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
May I ask, given the news from the Attorney General's office today, when might be an appropriate meeting for us to come back and be scheduled to discuss the host community agreement and development agreement?
I would leave that up to the town administrator to work with you. I don't know where we are on a host agreement with them
Okay.
or what's going on. So I think, as we did with the other entities, we will, this is my take on this. If anybody has anything else to say about it, just please feel free to speak up. But I would entertain having the town administrator follow through in the direction that we'd given her before on the host agreement and finish working that out.
Just a
Sure.
quick comment. I don't know that people know what we're talking about when we say the news today.
Oh,
So if we could just
Miss Cravel.
bring everyone up
Yes.
to
Yeah.
speed.
Absolutely. I have it in my town administrator report, but certainly
It's an apropos.
it,
Just because
it
it's a
seems
good timing.
here timing-wise.
And there'll be a.
And I did have a conversation with Mr. Glisman today about the decision. So the the AG's office reviewed the bylaw that was voted at special town meeting, requesting, remanding that the board would negotiate a host agreement, and then it would have to go to town meeting for ratification. And the Attorney General struck that language down as not being consistent with law for several different reasons. And we have the decision here, and certainly if anyone's interested in reading the decision, we can email it out. So one of the reasons that the board had held on moving forward with Fourscore was because you weren't sure whether or not it needed to go to town meeting, or if you still retained the ability to sign a host agreement. Based on the AG's decision today, you are the contracting authority, and the authority is vested in you to approve host agreements. Regarding the host agreement for Fourscore, we're pretty much there. So I would anticipate, given the directions of the board, that it will be on your next meeting.
Okay, and so, and just to clarify that, if the agreement seems to be done with, with you, what was done previous to the town meeting vote to take that authority away from us, given that, I would say that probably next week, when we discuss this with the board, it would next meeting, which would be the 29th, and this is for everybody on the public side of this, that it would probably come up, there's a chance that that would come up for a vote at the meeting on the 29th, the host agreement, correct?
So let me find out from you, would you want at the next meeting for me to bring that back to you in executive session so you can review it and decide whether or not you approve it, and then the following meeting, you would bring it forward once it's completed?
We did in
Because-
fact submit a signed version. Robin, you may not have seen it yet, because I just emailed it about 30 minutes ago when I walked in the door, but we have, to my understanding, completed both the host community agreement and the development agreement. We signed, countersigned our versions of both documents, and I believe they're in final form, so.
Okay. So we can take that up maybe under other business at the end of the meeting, but, just so people are all aware, we're discussing this, and within the next 2 meetings, there's gonna be some decisions made, so.
I just wanna make sure that sorry, I'm gonna kick your chair, at the next meeting, so when that happens, that we have all the information here for any questions that may come up regarding how many we have in town, how many we can have in town, what the citizens voted, what's taking place, so that there's no case of, what about this, I don't know, we'll find out in 2 weeks, what about this, well, I don't know. I'd like to make sure that when those meetings happen, we have all the answers, hopefully, to anticipate questions that may be asked and have the answers for those people.
Excellent.
And just if I may, Mr. Chair, a couple of things. One, maybe you can answer this again, but it goes back to the May ballot question. How would that impact this? And the other is, I just want to remind everyone that we do have a policy pending that I think, we all discussed regarding, and you already did this, Fourscore had a public hearing separate from Board of Selectmen's meeting, and it was well attended, and
That's correct.
we thank you for that. So that was one of the things that I know we're looking at doing as a policy, to be, again, more kind of transparent.
Yeah, and thank you, Karen, because I think some people forget where we were, with all the kerfuffle about the other project, where we were in relation to the Fourscore, and how we suspended everything that we were doing until we got some concise information from the Attorney General, so, okay. Right.
Is that it?
That's it?
So you're all set with that?
Thank you very much.
No comments on the site plan?
No.
Okay. The planning board has provided you with a copy of an application submitted to them by D&D Tully Realty LLC at 15 Raleigh Crossing Road for site plan approval to construct an 11,700 square foot addition to the existing 15,750 square foot building. The expansion will allow the tenant, MTD Micro Molding Incorporated, to accommodate the business's manufacturing and office space growth. The property is located at 15 Trolley Crossing, Assessor's Map 34A, Block A, Parcel 1.6, and is zoned residential small enterprise. You are asked to review and make comments, if any, no later than Tuesday, February 5th. And that's, both of those site plans are here for your
Thank you.
review.
Okay. Any comments right now? Is there none?
No.
Okay. Annual town meeting.
Okay. Attached is an FY20 budget calendar for your consideration, as required by the Charlton bylaw, and the annual town election will be held on the first Saturday of the month of May, which will be May 4th, and the annual town meeting will be held on the third Monday in May, on May 20th, 2019. Budget requests have been sent to the departments as provided by the finance director, including a 5-year capital budget form. You are requested to approve the FY20 budget calendar as presented. The board, if the calendar is acceptable, will open the annual town meeting warrant tonight as well. The warrant is scheduled to close March 19th.
Okay. What are the wishes of the board?
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Safarovich.
I move that we approve the FY20 budget calendar and open the annual town meeting warrant.
Second.
Okay. We have motion a second on both items. Is there any discussion?
Just regarding
Mhm.
the budget calendar and FinCom and joint meetings, but
Mhm.
when, and forgive me if you told me this, but I don't recall that we have a joint meeting scheduled yet with FinCom? I'm just,
I have it on your calendar for the weeks of April 29th and May 6th, so somewhere in those 2 weeks would be appropriate, and I will be meeting with the Finance Committee and the chair regarding their schedule and when they do. Generally, the chair has scheduled their meetings for the Wednesday after your meetings, and this is where I would, you have 2 joint meetings that I think would be recommended, which one would be somewhere around the end of January, February, which we'll schedule with Dudley Charlton School District, as well as the town of Dudley, and we usually do a kickoff, and that's a time where everyone gets together. On the February 26th, I will be presenting my preliminary budget, draft budget, to the Board of Selectmen, and then the following day, the chairman has set a meeting, and I will also present to the Finance Committee. And then you have the week of April 1st and 8th, you have possible joint meetings. Any changes that you'd like to make would be fine, and I can forward it on to, I have not forwarded it to the Finance Committee yet, so this is my proposal at this time.
Mhm.
And we don't generally put the Finance Committee dates and what they're doing in your calendar, but I do put a footnote at the bottom that says Finance Committee meeting scheduled to be determined, likely on Wednesdays.
Mhm. Okay. And could I just ask if the board okays it, where we're supposed to have the joint meetings with the, okay, you haven't, no, with the school is the
I
one-
do not have that in there.
Okay.
Once you do your calendar, that's when I will contact the school and get a date.
Okay, so so
Okay.
this is tentative, and this is
Subject to
gonna be
change?
fleshed out with other things as they come in, is what you're
Absolutely.
saying? Okay. All right, but at that, as soon as we know when we're gonna meet with the FinCom, with the school departments and with Dudley, if we could pencil that in and let the board know, I'd appreciate it. And I think that's what
Absolutely.
Karen was looking for, correct,
yeah,
Karen?
yes.
Okay, excellent. I know it depends on other entities to get that done, but once we pin them down, if we could do that. So, any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Old business, is there any old business? Committee reports,
Mr. Chair,
yes?
one old business item, if our town administrator could address it. Just I've been getting questions about the charging stations, and I couldn't recall the entire story, so if you could refresh, I'd really appreciate it, and I know other people in the public would as well.
Absolutely.
Thank
I'd be
you.
happy to talk about that. It's one of my favorite things that we've just done. So we do have there's 2 charging systems up that we received from a grant. They're right in front of the town hall on the opposite side of the road. We are in the process of making some signs, so it'll be a little more clear to people on when they can utilize it. Originally, we had planned on
I tried to
having.
fill up the other day, it wouldn't work.
What we've planned for is one of those to be reserved just for electric cars. The other one would be reserved for electric cars after town hall office hours, so that we only lose one, place during the day, during hours, because, parking is a premium, and we're not really looking to displace our employees either, or make it hardship. So, we are making a sign that says that second one is open after 5 and on the weekends, so both of those will just be, parking for the electric cars after hours and on the weekends when we're not open. There is a charge. One of the reasons also that we hadn't put the sign up yet was we were working out some of the kinks, made sure that everything worked. It is working. We did a survey as to how much we were gonna charge, and I think it's $3 for 2 hours or 3 hours. And we'll be putting that up. They use a fob to find us.
Yes.
So they also use a fob for payment. Our company that we're using, once they hit $50, they will send the money over to our collector. So we have a separate account that we'll be keeping track, and we'll be taking a look at that to make sure that the taxpayer is not, we're wanting to offer the service so that for convenience sake, but we're certainly not looking to transfer any costs onto the taxpayer.
Excellent,
Thank you.
thank you, thanks for the question, Ken. Okay, committee reports,
Through the chair,
go ahead.
the Marijuana Advisory Committee met the first week of January to discuss the new members of the committee and how they would be appointed. As I said before, Jean Vincent, though she was not appointed formally to the committee, did attend, as did Candace Sutherland. At that meeting, James McMahon gave an update on Green Gold. As you know, Green Gold Group is opening a dispensary on Route 20. The delay in the opening is due to a DOT request regarding a curb cut and traffic flow patterns. So they're currently working on that. I hope to have an update on that very shortly. When we discussed their hiring process, as you know, in the host agreement that you drafted, we had a local hiring preference, and as of our last meeting, as I said, at the beginning of January, approximately 80% of the new employees at the Green Gold Group facility are from Charlton.
Excellent,
When I asked about the demographics, he explained that the majority of that 80% also were women, including the general manager of the facility, which is very encouraging. I would hope that in any other host agreement that we have pending, we also have a local hiring preference, and know that you can always do a job fair here in the town. Thank you.
We do.
Good job.
It's in there.
Okay. And that's about it?
okay. All right, next.
Mr.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Chair, I
Go
have
ahead.
some reports.
Go ahead.
So as I mentioned earlier, I did attend the quarterly CMRPC meeting, and Jean Vincent also attended. It was held at the Blackstone Heritage Corridor Visitor Center, which if you've never been, it is a fascinating facility. It has a lot of interactive stations that you can learn about the region, and if you haven't been there, I highly recommend it going. So we did go over at the meeting, we talked about and voted on the proposed FY20 assessment schedule. Mr. Chair, I know you mentioned something earlier about the transportation, and they say their staff continues to work on it and to update the long-range transportation plans. What I found most interesting, quite honestly, was they did a preview of the new data tools to be added this year, and they're pretty amazing what they can do. And we must remember, and I know our EDC is probably aware of this as well, but some wonderful tools that we can use, we can tap into this wonderful resource for us. And they'll do many things for us, of course, for free. So we need to remember to use them, that's for sure. The other thing I wanted to mention, the Solar Moratorium Review Committee will be meeting on January 22nd at 7:30 PM in this meeting room, actually. And I will be attending the Mass Municipal Annual Meeting this Friday and Saturday, January 18th and 19th, and I will come back and give a report to everyone, so.
Excellent. Thanks, Karen.
Through the chair,
Yes,
should we mention the all boards meeting that took place last week?
absolutely, feel free.
Okay. Let me get my notes. Bear with me for 1 second. We did have an all boards meeting last week, January 8th. It was very well attended. In attendance at the all boards meeting were members from the library trustees, Board of Health, the Earth Day Committee, the Rec Committee, Conservation, the Council on Aging, the Cultural Committee, Water and Sewer, Recycling, Old Home Day Committee, school committees, representatives from Bay Path as well, the Dudley Charlton Schools, Fay Mountain Farm Committee, the Solar Committee, and also Representative Frost and Representative Durant stopped down for a visit as well.
Thank you. Okay.
Anya, is it your turn?
Policy review first.
Oh,
We have,
yeah, sorry, Mr. Chair.
that's all right, no, it's, hey, everybody keeps me on track here, because I do forget. No, but we had, Ms. Craig, I'll let you do this. 87, I have it.
At the board's December 11th, 2018 meeting, you reviewed the following policies with recommended changes and/or action to be taken. And if, do you want me to read that through, or?
No, I don't
Okay.
think so.
It just has your actions. The policy book's been updated with these changes. We will add it to the board's website page as well. Other policies discussed were a policy for the adoption and amendment of policies, citizens' relations petitions, transparency of the sitting marijuana facilities in Charlton, remove the quotation marks as put on the second reading, professional conduct policy, which was approved, put together a public records request policy as followed by Mass General Law. As you know, the office has been closed for 2 weeks with having the office redone, and the staff is working hard to get the office back on track. We will add the other policies discussed at your next meeting, but have attached what we have to give the board to review at this time. Should any member have a comment or a question, please let me know so it can be added to the discussion.
Excellent. That was, when we did the goals and objectives in the policy review, that was a very good working session, and I think we cleared up a lot of things. I think that Selectman Spiewak brought up some good additions to the policies, as did everybody else that was there. And we have some new policies, as Ms. Craver stated, that we're still, that we're finishing, putting the finishing touches on, and at our next meeting, or when they become available, we'll go over those. So, and those appear to be the newer ones, so we'll have to explain those. We'll let people know exactly what's going on. Now, Anya?
Okay, so I do have the report that I constructed for the month of December, since I unfortunately could not come to the meetings, and I shared it with all of you to your emails. I can read that now. If you guys did not see it, if you did see it, I can go to January.
What are the board's wishes?
Let's go January.
January.
Okay. So.
December's old news.
Yeah.
It's
So last year.
It's history.
Yep.
January 5th, Shepherd Hill Jr. Brian Santos became the 55-meter dash champion at the 2019 Hispanic Games at New York City at the Historic Armory. His winning time was 6.4 minutes. On January 8th, seniors Emma Whitehead and Eric Prushman were recognized at the annual Holy Cross Scholars Lunch. From January 11th and 12th, the show choir Fantasy received a clinic from world-renowned composer and show choir director John Burlace, and both choirs are headed to their first competition this Saturday at the Mill City Show Choir Festival in Lowell, MA. The week of January 14th to the 17th, students have their mid-year exams, and when we return on Monday, grades will close for quarter 2. There is an early release this Friday for professional development. And then later this month, January 25th and 26th, there is a drama production of The Incomplete Life and Random Death of Molly Denaults at 7 p.m. You can get tickets at the door for $5. And then the foreign language group is selling Super Bowl grinders until January 25th to raise money for their trip. And then January 29th and 30th, the seniors will be undergoing their cap and gown measurements. I also have attached the flyer for the second annual John Paris Student Support Fund basketball tournament, which will be March 16th. It's $120 to register a team of 4 players and $40 for each additional player, and all funds go to the John Paris Student Support Fund. That's the end of the report. I also wanted to ask your opinions. I know only 2 of you went to the Mocktown meeting last year, and I will soon be sending out an email to Dr. Nash, who's currently the interim superintendent, and then Mr. Chaplin and the current Dudley student select person about what they want to do for the middle school. So I wanted to ask you guys your opinion about changing up the pamphlet, giving a new questionnaire, or using the same one as last year, and if there's any improvements that I should make to it to change it, because it'll be crossing over to Dudley this year too, and as it spreads, we obviously want it to improve to get better, so.
So, first of all, thank you very much for putting that together last year. It was very professionally done. The participation by the students was great. They were all very interested. I felt honored to be there, and I'm sure Ms. Noble's gonna have something to say also.
Yes.
But the work that you did with the pamphlet and the questionnaires was fine, okay? You know, that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's your gig, and you did a very, very good job with it. So, that's my opinion, but it was great. I plan on participating this year again, so, okay, Ms. Noble?
Oh, it was so much fun and so enlightening. I learned from the kids that participated in the audience, and you kept them all on point and in order, and that was not an easy feat to do. With regards to the questions that you asked them, the ones you asked last year were very timely and very pertinent. So I would suggest maybe doing a straw poll and seeing if there's something else that's piquing their interests.
Mm-hmm.
The questions you asked last year were obviously something that was very important to them. So are there other topics this year that you're hearing chatted about? Is there anything going on?
I guess I would have to think about that, because last year I did ask questions about like a research officer, like
A school
resource officer, yeah.
Right, yeah.
Because
And
there
you
have
was,
one.
it was relevant to the school shootings that
Right.
happened last
Yeah,
year.
and then I think some of the other questions were geared towards the override.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot
that
geared
was,
to
you
the
know,
override.
that we had members from the finance committee there that explained, that explained all that. Along with the Board of Selectmen and what each legislative branch, meaning the town meeting members, the town administrator, and the Board of Selectmen, what their position was on that. And I think that was enlightening to them. I think it was enlightening to see some of the opinions that the ladies and gentlemen had. But the questions were absolutely, spot on. So.
Okay.
One question that you might want to ask them, we recently had a change in the vaping policy. So that might be a timely topic for them.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
And the other thing, Ms. Craven, maybe if that is gonna be a question, maybe we should talk to Mr. Philbrook, from the Board of Health, because he can explain the town, where the town's policy from the Board of Health, from Public Health, comes from, in something of that, and how they formulate the laws and regulations for the town in that area,
Yeah,
so,
And knowing Mr. Philbrook, he would be thrilled to be a part of this process.
absolutely. So
Yes, he
that
would.
probably, thank you, that's an excellent question.
Gets exposure too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's all. Thank you.
excellent,
Thank
thank you,
thank you, Anya.
And we did miss you.
Yeah.
Yes.
We did miss you. Ms. Craver?
Okay. Community Compact Initiative. We received a letter from Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito congratulating the town on having completed the best practices chosen as part of our Community Compact, which was signed on December 15th, 2015. The town is applauded for choosing and finalizing the financial policies, sustainable development land protection, and water resource management best practices. With assistance from the Division of Local Services Technical Assistance Bureau and 2 Community Compact grants, Charlton was able to complete these best practices and make improvements in these key areas. Charter Communications, negotiating and upcoming changes. We've been notified by Charter Communications, locally known as Spectrum, of the following upcoming changes. We're also continuing to negotiate with Spectrum for a new cable franchise contract, effective at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, January 2nd. Spectrum's agreement to carry Tribune's channels expired. Residents should have received information on that. And they'll also, effective January 31st, the NBA League Pass will launch in HD. As you know, also with the contract negotiations, we have no say over what they do with their channels. But what we do is try to make sure that the funding that gets passed through to the town really work to have a very, very vibrant cable network within town. Legislative Act, we've been notified that a legislative vote at the FY19 town meeting has been approved by the legislature. An act relative to the membership of the Conservation Commission of the Town of Charlton, authorizing the Town of Charlton Board of Selectmen to appoint 2 alternate members to sit on the Conservation Commission has been enacted. We will advise these 2 appointments on we will advertise these 2 appointments on cable and the website. I'd like to thank the delegation, Senator Goby, Representative Peter Durant, Representative Paul Frost, for their assistance on this. South Central Mass Veterans Services District. As you know, we are in a veterans district with the towns of Oxford, Southbridge, and Auburn. And as the budget season has started, we are beginning to meet to discuss whether there will be need to any adjustments in the policies, procedures, or staffing. I will give you more information as we work on that. We have had our first district meeting for getting ready for the next year. Articles 11 and 13 of the October special town meeting. As you know, bylaws voted at town meetings go to the Attorney General's office for approval. The town received the AG's determination for Articles 11 and 13 from the October special town meeting today. Article 11, which amended the zoning bylaw to exclude marijuana from agricultural zones, passed. Article 13, which was sought to require marijuana community host agreements to be approved by a town meeting, was disapproved in part. The AG states that it is the selectmen who are vested in executing contracts for the town, and that requiring a town meeting vote would be considered unreasonably impractical per Mass General Law 94C. The AG also states that the Charlton's own marijuana zoning bylaw grants to the Board of Selectmen authority over host agreements and makes no provision for town meeting approval. For another reason, the AG strikes such language is based on the fact that it interferes with the contracting authority of the Board of Selectmen and cites case law to that fact. The approved portion of the Article 13 is, Selectmen shall comply with the provisions of General Law, Chapter 94G, period. The rest was stricken. The town clerk will post accordingly. Speaking of Jim Philbrook, I'd also like to say that the reason that the vaping was deferred was because he had a grandson today.
Oh,
So we'd like to
congratulations
Very nice.
congratulate him on that.
Yes, congratulations.
Yeah, his daughter and son-in-law.
Yes, so,
Can we ask that the way Article 13 will read with that stricken be posted on the website?
yes, sir. We'll, the town clerk is posting, and she has certain posting requirements. We can take that posting and put it on the website. Before I get to the last one, also, stormwater, we are writing another grant.
Mhm.
It's another fast turnaround to be able to do Think Blue, as the state stormwater coalition. And that grant is gonna be going in this week, so I'd really like to thank Senator Golby for assisting us, because she, was able to get, I think, over 20 signatures of the House and Senate to support that grant, so.
Nice.
We're looking
Excellent.
forward to moving forward with that. I think that we've gotten some excellent feedback. The town of Charlton has been thanked by many communities for our part in this. I will also be going to the MMA and doing a 20-minute kind of lecture hall on the Think Blue campaign. So we're really thrilled about that. So I thank the board for supporting us in being able to do those grants.
Okay.
And lastly, I wish to express my deepest regret at Jim Malley's passing, and wish to note that we have lost a fellow comrade, professional, and friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Through the chair.
Ms. Snow?
One quick comment on the town administrator's report.
Mm-hmm.
When you reported on Article 13, you missed the second half of that article, which was to null and void any current host agreements that
Yes.
existed.
That language was also.
And that
stricken.
language was also struck down, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Other business?
And normally, I just want to say, under other business, we have Swifty's Liquor Mart, Keno to go. Generally, well, this one came in late, but enough time to get it onto the agenda. Generally, what we've done is just gone and put it into new business, but per your new policies, anything that comes in after the original posting, we're now putting under other business, so it'll be not taken out of order. So the Massachusetts State Lottery is offering existing non-pouring agents their Keno to-go game, a transaction which is identical to the already existing online games such as Megabucks and Mass Cash. At this time, they are not providing agents with a Keno monitor as part of this program. They have stated that Swifty's Liquor Mart at 280 Southbridge Road will be eligible to sell the Keno to-go product. If the board objects to Swifty's Liquor Mart selling Keno to go, we must do so in writing within 21 days of receipt of this letter, and we received it January 10th. Does the board have any objections?
No,
I don't.
no.
Okay.
Okay. And then
Thank you.
under other business, unknown at the posting of time, this is just something that I want to bring before the board and ask if they would agree to this. I would like the town administrator to contact the Board of Assessors. As we know, our citizens received their tax bills within the last few weeks. And I did receive 2 phone calls from certain people that their tax bills had gone up. Now, granted, they do own vast portions of land in town, and they were concerned because the increase really affected them because of the amount of parcels and buildings that they own. Besides that, I've noticed that there were several comments, not many, but several, on different social media platforms, and there is a disconnect somewhere as to how the taxpayers, the information that they have. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to ask the town administrator to reach out to the Board of Assessors. I know they have a meeting next week, I believe, on the 22nd, and ask them to, you know, if they could send a representative here or provide us some detail on you know, the increase in people's tax bills, just so that the public is aware of what has gone on, so.
Thank you.
Okay. Does the board
Yeah.
agree with that? Do we
Absolutely.
need a motion, or,
Yeah, just,
No.
just ask.
okay. All right,
And just, even like a quick summary, like,
yes,
like almost a paragraph that you can give to
That I-
someone or release
right,
saying that this is why.
exactly. And even if they don't come, it's something that we can release, that's, you know, that I can read or the town administrator can read. But there is some misconception out there about what is going on and what's affecting their tax rate, so, okay.
And, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
if I may, and I apologize, can we go back to the town administrator's memo regarding our policy review, only because I want to be consistent?
mm-hmm,
And on page 2, again, I just want to note that, and it's consistent with the changes I made to the minutes,
okay.
that the town administrator evaluation, right now it says okay, but it's pending revision.
Mhm.
And for those who didn't go to the goals and objectives, the last policy meeting,
Mhm.
we did discuss, and I'm working with, or I will be working with Jessica and Robin to
Excuse me.
develop the new evaluation
Yes.
tool.
Mhm.
So that's pending. And the other thing, and this is something, I go back and reread things sometimes too many times, but policy number 21, which is the correspondence policy, that we did just revisit and made small revisions to, I would like to suggest one more amendment. And it got past me the first time, and it's
What page you on, Karen?
87 of 106.
thank you. I'm looking at the hard
And it
copy,
might
Joe,
be-
sorry.
I'm in the know, I'm probably.
I'd tell you if I
yesterday's.
knew. Are you there? Let me know when you're on the same page. I'm referring to the hard copy, that's why I apologize.
Which page, John?
87 of 106 on the
Oh,
policies.
you got mine, David?
We got it, correspondence, come back, come down, right there.
Correspondence, okay with changes?
Okay, Karen.
So the third paragraph where it says mail address to a specific select person shall be opened, date stamped, emailed, and copied directly to that person and filed in his or her mailbox. I feel as though it should be mail address to a specific select person shall be date stamped and filed in his or her mailbox. I'm uncomfortable having mail that's sent directly to a select person opened. I don't know how you all feel about that, but,
Typically, if you don't mind me interrupting,
Mhm.
when mail comes in, unless it's marked personal and confidential, this is how it's been in all the government offices I've ever worked in. Unless it's written on there personal and confidential, it is opened, it is date stamped, and it is put in the person's mailbox.
okay.
So if someone wishes to send you something and have only your eye see it, then they should write personal and confidential on the outside of the envelope, and then it will not be opened. It will simply be date stamped on the outside of the envelope and placed in the person's mailbox.
And I appreciate your comments, but not, the average person doesn't know that that's what they should do and to respect them. Again, I have nothing, I've received nothing but nice cards, thank you. But I just feel as though, yes, that's a accepted practice. I don't know if it's the best practice. And, I mean, what's wrong with stamping the?
Because
I guess, you know,
it's a public record. That's the simple explanation. It is a public record. Anything we are sent is a public record.
I understand, it is a public record,
Mhm.
but it is up to this board to decide if they wanted to go that route, that's all. I don't
Mhm.
see, I think it's, again, I just feel as though to respect privacy and for the people who send it in and may not know that, because you're right, it's a public record if someone
And-
wants to take it, but
Right.
you really want to read a card with, you know,
They also have the option that if they wish to send something to one of us privately, they can send it to our home. But if it comes here and it's selectmen business, it is public record unless noted on the outside of the envelope as private, personal, and confidential.
I am agreeing with you.
Okay.
However, it is not mandatory,
Mhm.
that we open, look at, and put in a display. I just think it's, I don't know.
I really don't recall any personal mail I've ever received here having been opened. It's always been given to me sealed.
And that, in the past too, for the short time that I've been here, I've received mail and it was sealed. So this is something that I noticed because got a couple of cards, and I noticed they were open, and I'm like, it would not consistent in our policies, in our
Okay, so
practices.
That
so-
way you don't open it and the white powder doesn't come out on you.
So,
It's all for safety, okay.
yeah,
So, yeah, it's just,
so I know that Robin had something that she wanted to say.
Once Selectman Noble said public record, that was the concern. So in the office, the staff in the office are your agents. We work for you, we process your things, so I'm surprised to hear a concern about opening the mail and stamping it. It is, as you said, a public record when it comes in. We have a incoming file that we generally copy everything and it goes in there, so that if you lose it, or if someone else loses it, we still have a copy of everything that comes through. The board can choose not to, but then we risk having information come in, public records come in that we don't actually have.
And-
Okay,
and
so
custody of.
my suggestion is that the board think about this, and when we come back on the 29th, please give direction as to which way we wanna go. Okay, that's all.
Okay.
And we'll do whatever you wanna do.
Right, that's.
Great.
Okay.
and you, and then, for consistency, again, purposes, thank you, Mr. Chair, but, you know, when if the mail comes in for the town administrator, do you put it in, we don't get it in our, it's in there?
It goes into
Everything?
when mail comes in to me, gets copied, it goes into, there is a file that's incoming mail. Now, does it get given to you? You probably don't want every piece of mail that I get, no. But there is an incoming file which we copy for mail.
But-
Well, again, consistency,
It-
that's all.
So-
What we
it
do,
is
we should
consistent.
be,
So let's
think about it,
Let's
yeah.
think about it, and, you know, I know I don't make good decisions in, you know.
agreed, I
in
just
5
wanted to bring that back up, so.
Yep.
Actually, I think your new policy, it has that you have to bring something up and then you have to bring it up again.
Mhm,
So you don't make decisions on your first one.
okay. The policy on second readings, I
Mhm.
believe.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, does anybody have anything else? Okay, no. Next meeting announcement, regular Board of Selectmen's meeting, January 29th, 2019, 6:30 PM, Selectmen's Meeting Room. And we also have an open meeting law seminar, February 5th, 2019, at 6 PM in the Selectmen's Meeting Room. And we're going to adjourn to executive session through a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Safarovich.
I move that we enter executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation for Hilker Construction if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position or litigation position of the public body, and that the chair declares, and to return to open session solely for the purpose of adjourning.
Second.
And the chair does so declare that, that it would have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares to return to open session for the purpose, only purpose of adjourning. So, we have a motion, roll call vote, Ms. Spiewak.
Aye.
Mr. Singer.
Aye.
Ms. Noble.
Aye.
Mr. Safarovich. Aye. And the chair votes aye. Thank you, and good evening.